Who are you, Ayanna Patterson?
Everywhere I go, people are like, oh my gosh, this is the girl that dunks up to the beach.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
So my dad, of course, he played at New Mexico State and then went on to play in Spain and many other countries. And then my brother, he played at UCLA in Tennessee. Then he went and played for the Lakers. They shaped me just because I got to see them do their careers early on in life. I really looked up to like Candace Parker and Kevin Durant, especially Kevin Durant, just the way he carried himself, definitely in the basketball world and everything that was going on. So just how he was how he was just quiet and kept to himself, but he also like was really hardworking. Just seeing him produce, become the player that he is. And then Candace Parker, just her business mind and her being able to like go through different avenues, her being on like magazines and looking up to those athletes.
Who do you model your game after?
In the NBA, I definitely model my game after like Giannis Antetokounmpo or Kevin Durant. And then in the women's game, Candace Parker or Ayanna Patterson. I'm definitely just a do-it-all type of player, so anything that needs to be done on the court, I'll do it. So I didn't start with basketball. I started with running track because my mom was a track runner. So I ran track up until middle school. So I ran track and I didn't fall in love with basketball until I was maybe 7th grade. I just kind of fell in love with playing basketball and being around the game of basketball because I got to see my brother do it.
Who's your biggest competition?
It's definitely my brother. I mean, he's like my arch nemesis and my biggest fan. So I mean, he has all his records and everything, like in Fort Wayne and in Indiana. So like I go places and it's like, oh, that's Andre's little sister.
When did everything change for you?
Coming into high school, I really fell in love with the game, playing AAU basketball with Always 100 in Ohio United. My freshman year, I played up with 17U. I was just kind of like a go type. I kind of knew that I needed to get in the weight room, so I got in the weight room a little more. I fell in love with like getting in the weight room, going to the gym 2 times a day.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Of course, I want to get the #1 spot for the WNBA draft, and then, of course, play for any team that drafts me. And I want to win a national championship in college and all sorts of things. Like I want to become a WNBA champion, WNBA All-Star.
Who's your #1 superhero?
Batman. He really doesn't have like a real super ability. He kind of just has like all the equipment to make him a superhero. It's basically in his heart.
What would be your 3 superpowers?
Mind reading ability, super strength, speed.
What makes you a superhero on the court?
I can create my own lane going to the basket, but then also adding to it to be able to like to pull up, creating the passing game, and you always have a chance to work on every part of your game, but the major thing is just my jump shot.
What is your mentality, Ayanna?
You could be ranked top in your class at one time and then have a bad game, you go back to the bottom. So it really doesn't mean anything to me because I mean you just gotta go out and produce every night to win games.